This is the SwishWire podcast.
Welcome to the SwishWire podcast. We have a real basketball player for you today, Justin Turner, 6'4" guard out of Detroit, Michigan. He is currently in his fourth year. He's a senior at Bowling Green State University, one of the few guys who have been killing it for years and decided to stay for 4 years, earning his degree the right way. Justin, welcome to the podcast.
Nah, man, thanks for having me. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, Wait, I have a question. Is that a PS5 in the back?
No, it's not. I don't have a PS5. It's
That looked like a PS5.
I actually just had the PS5 on my cart like about 2 days ago.
So it's still hard to get.
Yeah,
still hard
I was
to get?
checking out, and then it was literally just gone. So I'm hurt. I was hurt by it.
That sucks. It's impossible to get.
Man, ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's start out with something fun. Your nickname is Juice. How did you get that nickname?
Man, my stepdad gave it to me. He gave it to me when I was about, I want to say 5th grade. I played football, wore number 32. And then everybody kind of said I ran like O.J. Simpson. I was a tall running back. They said I ran like him, had a form like him. So it kind of just stuck. And then when I got to basketball, everybody just kept calling me that. So I just kind of just took it and ran with it.
And make sense with the game, with the way you play the game, Juice fits.
Yeah. It just translated. So I like that. I didn't have no complaints about it.
It's a clean nickname too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of people kind of have it though. You go every once in a while, you hear a couple people have it, but I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah,
That's a cool nickname. I watched one of your mixtapes, and you had some amazing plays. You had some clips where you crossed some people over, some amazing shots. Did you have a moment or play where you knew you were legit?
Yeah, I say about a few. I want to say my junior year of high school, because it was so much that went into that year. The Detroit Public School League, the league that I played in, which was one of the best leagues in Michigan at the time, was loaded. You know, we had people like Kamari Newman went to go play at Oakland, Braylon Neely, Cassius Winston. They weren't in that league, but they played outside of it. Josh Jackson was around the area. So I made some big plays to get us to the city championship. We ended up losing, but I had a game in the semifinals where I was all right. I'm pretty good at this, and should keep it going. So that was my junior year, and it was a solid game for me where I made huge plays to kind of get us finally over the hump of what we've been trying to do.
That must be huge for your confidence to lead you guys to the state championship in your junior year.
Yeah, it was pretty big, especially like my school was known for like academics and things like that in the DPS. So it wasn't really expected of us to kind of go that far. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty special.
All right, Jan.
So you were injured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you were injured for most of your freshman year. You hardly played. What was it like having to go through that pain?
It was tough. I think the toughest thing was it just happened so fast. You know, your freshman year, you just want to come in and try to have a positive effect on the team right away. So to come in and finally get through the summer workouts, summer practices, we went to Italy that year because we had like one of them foreign tours where we actually played professional teams. I ended up playing pretty well, and by the third and fourth game, I was starting. So I came into the year real confident, and I pulled my hamstring literally the first exhibition game, not even the real game. So it was like just when you kind of get there to the start line, it's like, dang, a big setback happened. So it was tough, and
so like
what'd you say?
So like when it happened, did you know off rip like, bam, you're done, or were you like just focused on the now?
Not really. I was kind of focused. I didn't think I was done because I never really pulled my hamstring before, so I just thought it was like the way it felt. It just felt like I just felt a pain shoot up my leg, so it just felt like it was a cramp or something. So I was just limping, and I went to the back, and then he told me it was a pulled hamstring. And then that's when we kind of had the treatment plan that it'd be probably about a few weeks to a month. And then after that, it kind of re-aggravated again. And that's when we ultimately decided just to sit out and pull out for the year.
That's a killer, man. When it's like a countdown to the first game of the season. You are ready. You are just waiting for that day and have that happen. It's a killer.
Exactly.
It's a killer. But I mean, for a lot of people, injuries, they're setbacks for them. They think that it changes everything. But honestly, I mean, you went from redshirting with that injury your first year to not just starting the next year. I mean, you led the team in minutes, in scoring, in assists, in steals. You earned all freshman team honors. You were conference honorable mention. I mean, what did you do during that year, that rehabbing year, to reach that next level? You didn't just come back. You got better.
Well, I just really had to sit back and be real with myself about what was realistic, about what I needed to get better at, what were some of the goals for the next year. So me and my trainer sat down and we talked about the different things that was important to be successful on the court. And that's things like eating right, taking care of your body, make sure you're getting sleep. And, these are things in high school you kind of just look over because, high school kind of goes so fast and you really just focus on the basketball part. It's just like, all right, the other stuff will come. So when I really start looking at those things and start taking it much more serious. And also I think it was important that I knew that my body recovers well after injuries. Obviously, you never know how I might react to injuries, but I know if I sat there and had a real rehab plan and taking it serious and strengthening my body with weight training, I thought I would have had a good chance to make a good comeback.
Mm-hmm. That's big because my bad. That's big because some people think it's just all getting in the gym, hooping all day, but you were able to rest, you were able to change your diet, and it's just more than just, hooping, getting shots up.
Right. Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. People fall all the time. It's all about how you get back up and better yourself.
Exactly. It's all about how you handle the adversity. Because like you said, people fall, and I've seen a lot of times that it just tear people down and they kind of might not ever bounce back from it, or they don't bounce back the same, whether it's physically or mentally. So it is tough.
Yeah, it's a huge difference between just playing basketball and living basketball. I mean, it's not just about getting in the gym and getting 100 or 200 or 300 shots up. I mean, you got to have a lifestyle if you want to excel at it. You got to take care of your body, you got to take care of your mind, everything.
100%.
Yeah. Is there a player that you would say you mold your game after, or someone who, if you were a scout looking at yourself, would be your player comp in the NBA?
Yeah, I got about two I try to be, kind of realistic about. One is Mccollum. I think, we kind of similar with size and skill, not the most athletic, won't affect the game just by, dunking on people all the time and things like that. But, we make the right plays. We have good IQs. Yeah. Obviously, he went to a mid-major school. I think we kind of in similar roles. He went on to be a lottery pick, obviously, but, went to a small school, stayed there for 4 years. And, can three-level score, but also can play the point and run the team. So, and then the second person would be Lou Williams. It's kind of similar to that. Just real skilled players that, can play off the ball, but play on the ball too and lead a team if they have to.
Both of those guys, it's like they're not known for their playmaking, but it's definitely the most underrated part of both of their games. And CJ was having a great year before, this injury came up. We hope that he gets well soon.
Yeah, exactly. And then, they kind of play with other dominant point guards. Like he played with Dame and obviously Lou with the Clippers. So, they kind of have that on ball and off ball role. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah. And as you said, like since they're smaller, not the biggest guy on the court, just like you, they have to rely on their skill more, their IQ, getting to the spots when they can and the right situations and, their patience. And that's something that like a lot of players have to have, not just players that are smaller than everyone on the court, just like all players in general.
Mm-hmm. Those are great comps, right down to the stats. I mean, CJ put up similar stats to what you're doing in college, scoring the ball, but also responsible for actually orchestrating the offense for everybody. That's a great comp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your whole college career was coached by the same guy, Michael Huger.
Mm-hmm.
What has he taught you? like specifically?
I would say just a little crafty guard stuff. You know, he played at Bowling Green during his college career. You know, I think he was all first team all MAC guard. So it's just little knick-knack stuff, but whether it's coming off a ball screen, different reads to make, coming off shoulder to hip with the ball screen, and just little crafty, different things to get, different moves and things to get to my spots and really pick defenses apart. That's been one of the biggest things.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, as the coach, he has to be a leader for your team, but you're also a leader. You've said that you like to lead by example, but you've also taken on the responsibility as a vocal leader. Yeah. As of right now, what do you consider yourself, a leader by example or a vocal leader?
I would say both, you know, to the point now where our team, Bowling Green, is kind of, you know, my voice is kind of almost bigger than Coach Huger's voice. You know, sometimes coaching can be maybe overrated, especially when you get to the point where you get a lot of seniors and things like that, where, you know, a lot of guys kind of look up to you. Me and another player named Daquan Plowden. You know, you lead by example because, you know, it starts with you. And then you also got to hold people accountable and be vocal. So I would say both, and just trying to lead them to obviously a attorney bid. So it's tough, but, you know, I think it's going to help out in the long run.
When some people hear leadership, they just think like, you know, like hyping their guys up, you know, just vocally, but like it's more than that. Leading by example, guys like Kawhi Leonard, even LeBron James at times, even though he's a vocal leader, just you have to lead by example and vocally. It's not just one.
Yeah, 100%. And leading can be hard sometimes, you know, to get some, especially college dudes on the same page and to stay focused for that long, it can be tough. But
yeah, leading isn't just about when things are going well, saying good job, guys. I mean, especially if you're talking about a team that has been together for so long, the way that Bowling Green has, you got to be able to get on guys' asses when they're not doing the right thing. And sometimes it means more coming from you than it does from the sideline.
Exactly. And, you know, we're in the prime example of that right now. We started off 11-2, 10-2, I think. We went on a 5-game win streak after we lost to Michigan. And then after we lost to Wright State, we went on another one, and we started off conference 6-0, and we were just wiping the floor with teams, like just blowout after blowout. And now we done lost our 4 out of our last 5. So, you know, we're kind of in the rough patch now where we kind of got to get better. And, you know, it's still January, so we can. That's the good part. We still got things to correct. But leading them, you know, like you said, it's got to do it during the tough parts too, because that's what really matters. And that's how you take them steps to try to be a tournament team.
You know, I'm actually so glad that you brought that up, because I wanted to ask, you know, Coach Huger, he's said, obviously you're a leader, but you are dedicated to the game, dedicated to your craft. In the middle of a slump like this, I mean, how do you, as a leader, as someone who's working on themselves and on the team so much, how do you get everyone to buy back in?
I think you just stay true to yourself. You kind of go back to the basics a bit. We've really been getting killed on the defensive end these last couple of games. So it's calling the guys in, whether you talk about basketball or not, let them know, you know, you're there for them. We haven't really been shooting it the best. We have when we started the season. So just knowing, kind of, for me, I like to remind people why they're here, why, you know, we got to this point. You know, we got to this point because we're good. And I never look in like preseason stuff, but, you know, they picked us to win the league for a reason, because we got good players. So I never wanted to be a confidence issue with my teammates and things like that. So I try to always pick them up from that standpoint. And then at the same time, just being real with ourselves and knowing what we got to get better at. And, you know, we took the right step in practice after the who did we just played before Kent? I don't even know. But, you know, we lost by 5 last night, but we just going to keep chipping at it and just keep staying with it and keep going about it the right way.
Yeah. And I got to ask, I wasn't planning to ask this, but you made a good point about, you know, sometimes when you have young guys, you have to remind them what they're doing here, why they're here.
Yeah.
What in your minds is like a way that either as a young guy or the guy giving the advice, to not take it personally when someone gets on you, to not take it personally, like to how do you remind people to, stay bought in and what they're doing there? How do you do that?
Man, for me, I think it's, you just think about what the end goal is, trying to win a conference championship, especially with our league. Our league, I also tell people this, our league is good. We got teams like Akron, Kent, Buffalo, Ohio with Jason Preston. So it goes on. And, if they want that tourney bid, ultimately they're going to do what they have to do to get there. So that's something I do. I just remind them of why we're doing things. And it's not easy to win a championship. So
No.
It takes challenges and it takes grit, and you got to fight some adversity. And this is, like I said, this is our first real adversity of the season, because fortunately we really haven't had no corona problems with COVID. We got shut down probably back in September. And other than that, we've been able to play all our games. With us, obviously some other teams is canceled, and then we started off hot. We started off, blowing a lot of teams out. So this is our first real adversity. So it's something that, we just got to power through.
That's similar to the injury thing in a way. You guys are faced with a challenge, and as a group, you guys have to, come back strong from this to prove that you guys can make it to that next level.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I think it's going to take, it's not just going to be me, it's not going to be our captain, it's going to be a whole team, because I do believe we have a team full of good players, and I do believe that we are capable to do it. So, it's buying in, making sure we're on the same page with our coaches, each other. We all talk to each other once. I feel like this is one of the closest teams I've been a part of, so I'm not really worried about like the chemistry aspect or anything like that. It's just, staying true to our grind and knowing we're going to get through it.
Yeah,
and my bad.
No, you go.
When you're that close with your team, as you said, and you have that good chemistry, it's easier to just build their confidence back up, rather than if you're not really close with them, you're just someone you play basketball with. It's a lot harder, but you guys have that culture, that ability to bring each other back up, help each other back up in these times of adversity.
Yeah.
And that's a big part about your guys' success so far.
Yeah, definitely. And it's because, pretty much, I can say pretty much all of them, I know them off the court. Obviously, some freshmen, not as well as people I've been with here for 4 years, but I know I can approach anybody, and they know they can talk to me. So, it's a two-way relationship, and they know we care about them off the court. So, they know whether they're playing great or playing bad. We're always gonna have their back.
Yeah, like you said, you've been there for 4 years now. In 2019, you declared for the NBA draft. What went into the decision to withdraw and be where you are right now?
Man, just seeing how many things I had to get better at, just seeing how different, the league kind of looks at things, and just from the lingo there to how they communicate to on the court and off the court. The players' mindsets, the actual stuff on the court that I had to get better at, like deeper range on the three ball. Obviously, keep sharpening up my point guard skills, passing, getting size and strength. I think all that went into play. And then also just having a chance to be able to work out with the pro teams. That was pretty good. So once I soaked up all that knowledge, I came back to school, and I thought it was the best decision for me.
Yeah, for some guys, it's very valuable to go back, because in recent years, I think of Trey Jones from Duke. He was with Zion, Cam, and RJ, and everyone expected him to go to the draft. But when he just announced, I think it's on his Instagram, that he was coming back to Duke for another year, it caught a lot of people by surprise, but it actually boosted his stock a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure you probably wanted to show people that he can lead a team, because, he was playing with all dogs. He was playing with Zion, RJ, Cam.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he kind of took it with a little chip on his shoulder to go back and show people that he can do something without those type of players and things.
Yeah,
that's great. I gotta say, Justin,
there's also players the
mindset you have about taking every opportunity, good or bad, and making positive out of it has got to be one of the greatest strengths of a basketball player I've talked to. That's phenomenal.
I appreciate that, man. That's the only way you got to be. I remember when I first got here, my coach told me life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. So I remember when I heard that, that kind of stuck with me. Just with anything in my life now. I know my mom, she freaks out a lot. And I'm like, Mom, relax. We're going to be good. You know, it can be about anything. So if I lose my keys, she get mad. But Mom, relax. I'm going to find it or we're going to be good.
World's still going to keep spinning.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you said that you didn't go into the 2019 draft because you had things to work on. As you said, you know, deep range shooting. You had a lot of things to work on, you said, and some people would just go right into that, but you didn't. You just wanted to work on your craft and completely polish out your game. So this summer, you finished your degree, and congratulations on that, by the way.
No, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. You had the option of transferring to a ton of schools, such as Louisville, Missouri, Marquette, or in Iowa State, but you opted to stay at Bowling Green. What led to this decision?
Man, ultimately, I thought it was the best decision for me. You know, when I went into the portal, I told myself, you know, I didn't want to go to another school and just become a totally different player. I think you look back into a lot of the people in the portal that go to maybe a higher school because they think the grass is always greener on the other side, and then you know you watch them play and they look just totally different. You know, they look like their confidence is gone. They look nothing exactly like the player that you saw them at the previous school. So when I got to that Final Five, those were 5 schools where I was like, okay, these are schools that I think that I can go in and have a similar role to what I had at Bowling Green. And when it came down to all the aspects of it, of where will I have a good chance of getting to a tournament, where am I best comfortable with. Also, COVID played a part. You know, I wasn't allowed to take any visits. You know, I can honestly say you never know what would happen if I was able to take them visits. Mm-hmm. So when I took in all the factors, I thought Bowling Green was the best fit for me.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, like you stayed there because of that. And some people, they would just go to a higher tier school just because. But you decided, you weighed out all your options, not just basketball related. You know, you're comfortable with everything like that. And you stayed at Bowling Green, which was ultimately the best decision for you because now, I mean, you wouldn't just go to a bigger school just because, you know.
Yeah. I didn't want to just go to any school you know, I had a lot of big schools, but I just didn't want to go in them just to say I was going in there. I thought it was crazy because I actually had a layout. I had about a 5 to 7 page layout. It was every grad transfer from the past 5 years, mm-hmm. and the stat it had their stats I had to compare from the previous school to the new school.
Yeah,
it was insane how much numbers dropped. And some people kept theirs. I'm not gonna just sit here and make it seem like everyone was a bad move, but it was just insane how much things dropped and things changed. Because I'm sure they went through the recruiting process kind of thinking similar. I'm sure they just didn't want to give everything. I'm sure a lot of people were happy with their decision, but you know, I feel like it goes both ways.
I mean, you got to school, you built a home, a family. You guys have struggled. You've succeeded. Like I can imagine that that tourney bid is a huge thing for you guys, driving you guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. It's been so long. So the school, the university definitely deserves it, and I hope we can give it to them this year.
Yeah, not including your teammates, who would you say is the best player you've ever played with or against?
Man, against I would say Cassius Winston. Yeah,
he's tough.
His IQ was off the charts. The way he was able to, the way he understands the game, the way he understands angles, the way he's able to adjust. I remember in middle school they said he'll have a hard time adjusting in high school because he's not athletic and things like that, and you run through high school. In high school they said the same thing in college, and then eventually he started dominating college basketball, and then there's some knocks about him why he's in the league now. He got drafted with the Wizards, but I think he'll oversee all of it. And one thing I know about him, he gets better, and he's going to put the work in. So I think he'll have a bright future.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to say right here, I'm a Wizards fan, and Cassius, he hasn't played too much for us, but when he played the last 2 games, he's looked great. Not from the box score really, but like his patience for a rookie a rookie that's facilitating off the bench, playing in that type of role.
Yeah.
That's amazing. His patience, his poise, and I just love what he's brought. And he's definitely a competitor.
Yeah, he's only gonna get better. He's gonna work at it. So
that's the magic of getting a guy who's been, like Winston, been somewhere for 4 or 5 years. You're not really getting a rook. That's something that teams are going to get with you too. They're not getting a rook really.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy who's been playing for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. But and they're always it's always gonna be new stuff to learn. You obviously, because you're going to the next level, and there's great player. Everybody's a great player there. So
no scrubs in the league.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
they think it's easy. Like, it's ridiculous.
No. Yeah, there's some players that on an NBA level, like, they might not be as good as some other players in the league, but like if you were to put them next to someone like, just a regular person, they would be like the best player in the world.
Yeah, not even a regular person, a college athlete or athlete anywhere. I remember I was actually thinking about that while we was watching the playoffs in the bubble. I'm just like, man, these people don't realize how good these dudes are. Like, put aside the LeBrons and the Steph Currys and all, and KD, but just whoever you consider your average NBA players, just they're really good. So
that's why a couple of years back when Duke had that, God squad with Zion, RJ, Cam.
Yeah.
I saw graphics on ESPN saying like that they would sweep the Cavs in a 7-game series, and like that's just disrespectful because when LeBron left the Cavs, they don't have a superstar, but they still, like, those guys made it.
Yeah, they're pros. So
yeah.
I mean, you take the worst guy on a D League team and put him in the gym, even if he's shooting 30% in a game in games, he's knocking in 15, 20 straight by himself.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
They'll run everyone out the gym.
And you yourself, if anyone that's ever watched you play, they know you could score. And recently, you just passed Antonio Daniels for 4th place on the BGSU scoring list. How does this feel? What does it mean to you?
I honestly don't really know, man. I feel like it hasn't really hit me yet. Probably because we so missed in the season, and I'm so caught up in the one to win for the higher power, want to win the championship, and especially I know I don't feel it now because we done lost our last 4 out of 5, so I'm really focused on winning now. So I think that'll be something, it'll probably hit me as the season go. Maybe when the season's over, maybe before it ends. I've just been trying to cherish it all and really being thankful for my time here and things like that.
That's big because
go ahead, Justin.
That's big because you're not really focusing on, the accolades, the records, the scoring. You're focusing on winning. And especially, as you said before, you guys are overcoming some adversity right now on a losing streak. And that's just big. Coaches want winning players. And that's not only what will transfer in college, but also to the league.
Yeah, and winning just takes care of everything, man. That's one thing I remember I noticed right away when I sat out that year. I was like, man, winning really does keep everybody happy. And I didn't see us lose. And I seen everybody numbers go down. I see us win and everybody numbers go up. So it affects everybody. So
that's a good mindset to have, not getting caught up in the moment, because you see guys like LeBron, he's always passing someone in some sort of stat, whether it's the all-time scoring list. He always says he'll let the media do the talking, and one day when he decides to hang it up is when he'll look back and he'll appreciate all of that stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
So I got to ask on that note, I mean, Bowling Green is not NBA factory, but they've still produced some great players. They've produced guys like Antonio Daniels, Rashawn Holmes, Keith McLeod, Howard Cormeves, and, the late, great Nate Thurman. Legit NBA players have come out of Bowling Green.
Yeah.
You have a chance to finish off as the all-time leading scorer, more than any of these guys. Did that play a factor in deciding to come back to Bowling Green?
I honestly didn't. I think it was more of a factor that I can take these guys to a tournament and we can make history.
Team first. I like it.
I honestly 100% did not think about the scoring record at all when coming back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rashawn Holmes' game. Have you ever had a conversation with him or anyone that's come out of your school before?
Yeah, he actually came. He had a night last year We played Eastern Michigan. He came to the game. I think it was Rashawn Holmes' night. So we ended up winning. I think I had about 25, 26. And he came to the locker room after the game, and we talked for a little bit, just something quick. He just told me to keep going and that they watching. So I'm assuming he meant the league and things like that. There's some inside people in there that he kind of know a couple people that I know. So he just told me to keep going and that they was watching and keep leading. It's pretty much
great
it.
Advice. Great advice from a guy who worked his way into the league. You know,
exactly.
Not a pick. I don't know if he actually was drafted.
He was.
He was.
Yeah. Yep. I think he was in the 50s, either 40s or 50s.
Okay, yeah. So definitely a guy who knows, it's not handed to you. You got to work for it.
Exactly. Yep.
And speaking of working for it, we've gotten a chance to learn a bit about you and your experiences on and off the court. So we're curious how you became Justin Turner, senior guard for Bowling Green State. What training tips have you got for the young guys who want to be you in a few years, who want to emulate your journey?
Yeah. It's kind of a little bit of a lot of different things, obviously, you want to work hard, stay in the gym, work on every aspect of your game, have no weaknesses. If you do work on your weaknesses, then I think as you get older, you're going to start to see that a lot of things, the different type of things it takes to be great. And that's what the things that I said before. That's working on your body, make sure you get enough sleep, studying the game, being passionate about the game, not just wanting to do it for whatever reasons, going about it the wrong reasons. And then just continue to get better. And then when you face adversity, attack it. I think a lot of people just think it just comes. Like you said, you got to work at it, and then when you work at it every night, it's not going to be there. It's going to be so many nights where it's just frustrating and it don't really look like it's going to go your way, but you still got to stay dedicated and go about things the right way. And also, I think the biggest one is be confident. Be confident in the work you put in. I remember in the summertime, it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago. I went to the CP3 camp, and it was about 6 to 7 mid-major other mid-major players there. The rest of everybody was about high major schools, and I just noticed that the mindsets that those dudes have, and how every one of them dudes thought they were the best dudes on the court, whether they were or weren't. They thought that. So, and I think that ultimately helps them take their game to another level. So I remember when I came back from that camp, and then we also played with Chris Paul and other pros. I remember I came back from that camp. I was like, man, I got to have a different mindset. I need to go out here and kill, because, nobody cared that I go to Bowling Green, or especially in those type of environments where you're just kind of just playing to prove yourself, when you're playing with the best. So I think confidence is another key.
Mm-hmm. As you said just there, and as we talked about before, it's more than just, hooping. It's about getting rest, recovery, diet, things like that. And also, as you just said right now, the mindset, all that stuff. Yeah. But diving deep into the specifics of your game, you're amazing at creating space due to your shifty speed, tight handle, and your footwork. That really allows you to thrive as a shot creator. What are you doing in the gym to enhance this part of your game?
Man, this goes back to a dude I work with, his name Will Vance. He really harped on footwork at a young age for me. He was my trainer and AU coach out of Detroit. He always seen the skill in me, I guess. So we worked nonstop on just different footwork moves, being very versatile, being able to do different things to get my shot off. He always taught me that great players don't need to be open. They just need to create enough space to get their shot off. So that's something I've kind of been doing for a while now, and really just been trying to perfect it and get better at it every year.
Yeah, one of the most impressive parts of your game is your speed, in my opinion, whether it's blowing past a defender, playing off ball, or switching to another player when you're playing defense. Have you always been a quick athlete, or do you put in extra cardio, or how does that work? I know you said you played football before, so I assume that the speed's been there for a while, no?
Yeah, it has. The speed comes and goes. A lot of people harp hyper my speed, and then they actually see me run and be like, wow, I didn't really know you was that quick. So it's always kind of been there. I think making sure my lower body is strong. I remember I came in, my hips was real tight. So me and my athletic trainer, we got to work on that, working on my hamstrings and making sure those are strong and getting better at being explosive. So that was just something I just, nonstop working at, and I'm still working at it, honestly. So it's something that I'm gonna continue to get better at as I'm trying to transition to that next level.
Mm-hmm. And I also saw you did cross country in high school. You're probably a beast at that.
Yeah, no, I did actually. I ran. I want to say I ran about 4 races, and I forgot how long the meets were, but I want to say it was a few miles. And one of them I came in like 4th, and it was like schools from all over the state.
Yeah.
So I was pretty hype about that. But no, man, cross country was tough. I don't even want to talk about it, man. I'm tired of thinking about it.
That's a different kind of beating. Just running and running and running, no end.
Exactly.
Speaking of no end, you are without a doubt a bucket getter by definition. I mean, you can score the ball. You are versatile. What would you say is your favorite move? The one no one's stopping you.
Man, favorite move. I guess I'd go with between the legs cross maybe. But the thing with me is it's something to do with a crossover. It's just gonna have a different setup every time. So I know if I'm lowering people to sleep and having pace with it, I know it'll be pretty successful. There's sometimes where I probably try to run by guys too much. Then my brother like, what are you doing? Like you just wasting your energy. Just do the crossover, create the space, and then you can go to work it out from there. So it's just something setting my defender up and probably crossing the back to either hand.
I love that, man. It's a chess game. It's not checkers.
Exactly.
It's 110% mental. You put it together in different combinations, different ways that whether you're lulling a guy to sleep, whether you're setting them up, it's beautiful to watch.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And we just talked about your shot creation earlier. You're obviously an amazing shooter off the dribble, but you also have the ability to shoot off the catch. And you could do both of these from behind the arc. So what does your shooting routine look like?
Man, it's pretty different. I got a couple. I got one. Obviously, I got like something in the off season where I'm really focusing on the form and technique, and really breaking down the fundamentals of the space, how balanced my shot is. Because sometimes I can get to drifting or fading away. But when I'm straightforward and stump straight up and down and let the ball go and let the ball release from my 2 fingers from the top and not wait until I come back down, my shot is pretty good. And then in season, it's just just staying in rhythm, keep getting shots up, not really too much. Just go and do some quick shooting. In season, I'll probably go in the gym. I'll probably be in there about 25, 30 minutes. Just some quick stuff, get some floaters up. I haven't been shooting it great from 3 this year, but I'm not really too worried about it. I still feel confident because all my shots that I've been taking, I've been feeling good. So, and I don't really shoot as much. I haven't really shot that many 3s this year just because I've been on the ball a lot more and doing a lot more creating. But like I said, when I'm balanced and things like that, I'm pretty confident with my shot.
I mean, so that's a big thing. It's not just about spending all your time in the gym. It's about making the most of the time you do spend in the gym.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before that rest and recovery for you were a big thing. I mean, I think that's a thing that not a lot of young guys understand, that you just can't pedal to the metal, 100 miles per hour all the time. You got to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. What is one of the ways that you balance both resting and recovering with actually growing as a player? I mean, is there a thing that you do? Watch film while you ice? What do you do?
Yeah, a little bit. I do watch film. I don't do it while I ice, but I definitely watch film. But just as far as recovery, I do a lot of ice baths. I go pretty much after practice. I go right to the training room. Me and my trainer, athletic trainer, we developed a pretty good relationship over the years. So if there's anything I need, I know he's gonna get it for me. He has me Normatec a lot. I really like him too, just things you put on the legs and it gets real compressed. Sometimes I'll wear a Firefly. It's like it's like a strap, and you kind of just put it on your leg, and it just sends like an electric shock through your leg, and I think that's pretty good. So it's nothing too over the top. A lot of people do it, but it's just about actually doing it, actually staying disciplined. Because there can be times where it's like, oh, all right, I don't feel like doing it. I just feel like laying down. When you playing, especially now, you can have a game the next day and not even know it. Like we just had that Kent State game. We didn't know about it till Monday night. And then we left Tuesday and went. So you kind of got to be ready at all times.
Yeah, COVID world right now.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, you guys mentioned that you were closed down in September because of COVID.
Yeah.
What did you do during that span to kind of keep growing as a player?
Man, I tried to do as much home workouts that I can. It was starting to drive me crazy for a minute because you just wake up and you see the same thing every day. It's just that's tough too. That's tough too, trying to stay disciplined in your workouts when you can't really go nowhere. When you're used to having access to a gym or some type of court or a weight room.
Mm-hmm.
So I just tried to do as many push-ups as I can. Our trainers gave us a few workout sheets, so I was steadily doing that. Me and one of my friends, his name Corey Willard, he's actually the GA at Oakland University. We watched a lot of film together and break down different things on synergy. So, I try to use it as effective as my time as effective as possible.
Nice.
Yeah, you've been around the game for a long time. You're a senior. You said that there are some younger guys on your team that can come to you anytime. If you had to give one piece of confidence to a younger player aspiring to make it big one day, what would it be?
It would be starring a role. I think that's kind of underrated, especially when you're a young player coming in. I tell the young players, especially when they come in our team, that I tell this for 2 years straight, because 2 years ago we went to the MAC championship. Obviously last year we were picked to win first, but we didn't get a chance to go to the MAC tournament. And I let them know, you come into a good team, so sometimes they're coming in from high school. They was the man on their high school team, where they did things that they might not have to do going into a college team that's competing for a conference championship or eventually a tourney bid. So just let them know, whatever the coach asks you to do, just do it your best, and then as time goes, that will increase. Your role will increase, your minutes will increase, and you take advantage of whatever's given to you, and eventually you look up and then that's when you find yourself, oh, all right, I'm the sixth man now. Oh, I'm the starter with key minutes or taking key shots, and eventually I think it'll only get better for you.
Yeah, going back to what you said about Lou Williams, he's kind of one of the best guys ever at starring his role. He's arguably the best sixth man of all time. And, he's a guy who over his career has the talent to start on pretty much every NBA team. But yeah, he's really taken pride in coming off the bench wherever it is, whether it's Toronto, LA, and the list goes on. But yeah, he's been a guy that has really started his role, like you said.
Yeah, and he's maximized it to its full potential. I'm sure he has a lot of people like, man, I wouldn't mind coming off the bench and playing like that and scoring and getting other players involved. So definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best things you've said all today. It is, as a college coach, I cannot tell you the number of kids that I've seen who want to come in and think the only way to do it is to try and be a star, to try and be the hero. Starring in your role is maybe the best advice I've heard anyone say to that answer.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, I remember I seen this video of Alex Caruso, and he was talking about starring a role. And just because I think he went undrafted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, he did. So he was just talking about at Texas A&M, he wasn't even like the main guy. I think they had another guy that was the leading scorer, and he just talked about how that's what he tried to do every day, and eventually how things got better for him, and it opened up more things for him on the floor. he said he was in the G League, and he said the main thing with the G League is that everybody tries to come in and just try to show people that you can flat out score or be a star. And he said he went about it the same way, about going on the road, playing defense. And then you look at him now, he kind of does the same thing, but it opens up so much for him on the floor. You know, he pushes the ball. You've seen him play the point guard spot. You've seen him knock down shots. You've seen him get on the break with Bron and throw him passes and dunk. So I think it's very crucial.
And now he's closing games for the reigning champions and the best team in the league. So he really has came a long way.
And he got a ring. So that's the biggest highest level in the world. So was
a key piece to that ring too. I know LeBron and AD get tons of credit, and rightfully so, but Caruso is one of the guys that is one of the most underrated players in the league.
Exactly. And I know, I think real basketball players know that how important that, you know, people like Alex Caruso are. So people like that, they don't get looked over to me. You know, I know how solid they are.
Yeah.
He's one of the epitomes of, you know, the idea. What are we doing here if it's not to win?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
He's there to win.
Mm-hmm. And being a star in your role, that's so underrated. That's such an underrated thing. As Andrew said, you see guys that they just want to be the star, you know, the guy. But I mean, role players, there's a place for it in the NBA. There's lots of role players. It's more than just the star on your team. There's another 9-10 guys that have to play. Yeah. Look at a guy like Joe Ingles. Whenever I hear that phrase, I think of him. He's had like almost a decade-long career in the rotation for the Utah Jazz because of his ability to be a role player and be a star in his role rather than just guys trying to chuck up shots and be the guy.
Yeah, and he you know, been super effective. I'm sure y'all know if y'all watch a Jazz game, if that ball get kicked out to Joe Ingles, he open, he knocking that in. So you know, and nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. So you're a scorer, you're a good rebounder, you're a playmaker, you're a defender, and you're just an all-around player. So I'm just curious, what part of your game was the hardest to develop, and how did you develop it?
Man, I think I want to say shooting from long range, because that's something I'm still developing. And just overall making reads, making my reads, and shooting, because you know that's just something that's hard to do. Shoot, especially when you talk about NBA and going back to the NBA line, when you actually get there and you see them, like, all right, it's kind of far. So being consistent at it, that's what's hard, you know, shooting the same way every time. And it's something me and my trainer have been working at. And every year I've been taking steps. So that's something I'm still striving to get better at. And then when I say making my reads, it's just reading the floor, knowing where my players at, knowing the personnel of my players, knowing what the defense is going to do, knowing what the help man is going to do. I think a lot of that helped me with when I went to CP3 camp. I kind of talked about that already, but when I went to that camp, you know, when we actually sat there and watched film with him and actually played with him and got to pick his brain, it kind of just helped me understand that I can kind of look at the game my own creative way. You know, it's not really like a textbook to it. It is, but it isn't. In the way of, you know, everybody's game is different. And you gotta interpret it in a way you can understand it. So I think that helped me a lot.
I mean, it's a very cerebral game. Like a lot of people don't understanding the game, having IQ can make up for a lot of athletic or skill, you know, deficiencies. If you understand the way that it works, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Yeah. Just and I kind of go back to a person like Cassius Winston. You know, his senior year at Michigan State, he understands so many things. Like, you probably go back and look at the highlights, but like, man, how did he make that layup, or how did he make that shot, or how did he see that defender? How did he get that bounce pass through? Just because he was just so smart.
Yeah. Right now is when we would normally transition to some fan questions, but we answered like pretty much everything except for Bowling Green alumni. Dylan Fry writes in and says, "Tell Justin that he cannot guard me." What do you have to say about that?
Man, he's always talking crazy. He don't even believe that statement.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's what you have to tell him if he's listening right now, is that you can give him buckets.
Yeah, Dylan know I can give him buckets. I've been giving him buckets for 4 years. That's my brother though, man. He was my roommate last year. I miss playing with him. He was the point guard, and I was off the ball, and we had a great relationship on and off the court. So man, that's my boy Dylan. He always say that though. He can't guard me. He says that all the time.
Hey, you gotta have the confidence, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Before we finish up, Justin, I gotta say I've talked to ball players at every level. Even if I never saw you play, even if I've never seen a single one of your games or your highlights, just from having a conversation with you, the mindset that you have is what everyone should be striving to copy. You have the kind of mindset that is going to make it, whether it's in the league, whether it's in life. Just from talking to you, I can tell that right now.
No, man, I appreciate that, man. Just got to keep at it and keep getting better, bro. I appreciate that, dude.
That's it. Every day, be a little bit better.
Yes, sir.
Justin, we appreciate you coming on. We are going to enjoy watching the rest of your college career and undoubtedly the professional career that you are about to have. You have big things coming up, and we are all going to be tuned in for it.
No, man. Thanks for having me. I had a good time, man.
Yes, sir.
Same here, man. Thank you.
Peace out.
All right, see y'all.
Peace.